take real long. This is one of the easier things to present. So, all right. So this is the order that I'm going to be. Do you? I should have asked you if you want to be on the other side, because I have always working from this side. This is kind of the outline of how we're going to proceed tonight. So this exercise is abbreviated TARP, and it's very old, like decades old, probably from at least the 80s, if not earlier. And so it stands for Tape Assisted Reading Program. Well, we don't have tapes anymore, so it's kind of a misnomer, but basically it's a recorded listening. So Tape Assisted Reading Program. So we're going to start with who can benefit from the program. And right now. So a student who's lacking, who's poor at tracking can benefit. Any student who struggles with reading fluency. Auditory discrimination problems. I can never spell when I'm on the board, so please bear with me if I misspell. Discrimination. Auditory memory. And sequential skills.
So all of that is Nathan, right?
I don't remember if did he have auditory discrimination issues? I thought he was okay on that.
Oh, well, actually that was something probably the last teacher worked on.
Oh, that's right.
The
That's
phonemic
right.
awareness
And he's
stuff.
way better at that now. Yeah.
What is what do you mean by track?
So I was just going to go through that to see if people know there's actually, even to some degree, visual memory. Okay. So let's go through these. Do people know what tracking is? That's the one. So tracking is when you have a text. A person who tracks follows along in a straight line and reads the words. A child who has trouble with tracking or anyone who has trouble with tracking might jump a line and then go back up. Or they might go forward and then go back. They might even start at the wrong side and go the other direction. So tracking is the ability to go from left to right and stay on the line. Okay. And it probably actually does even more than that. Like, I think that this exercise also can help with, and I am not an ophthalmologist, I have no idea if this is correct, but I think it could help with convergence and focus issues as well. So another thing is obviously reading fluency, just that ability to read fluently and not stop after every word, sounding it out, or, and inflection. It's wonderful for inflection. And that would be, inflection is the ability to change your voice with how you want, like if you're asking a question, what does that mean? Or are you, oh my gosh, so instead of just reading monotone, you actually add some inflection in it. So this is great for that. It's also good for grammatical weaknesses. So using words like I came to the house instead of I came or I comed, that kind of thing. Auditory discrimination. That is the ability to hear sound correctly. So if I say, this is very common error that students make that come to me. They will, if I say something like chip, or actually I think it's usually the other way around. If I say trip, they think it's chip. If I say it's tree, they think it's chi. Okay, so they mix the TR with the CH.
Eliana does that.
Okay.
all the time.
So that is an auditory discrimination issue, and students will always struggle until they get, with reading and spelling, obviously, until they get that squared away. And usually, the recommendation would be to go through a program like Linda Mood Bell to the tune of about $10,000, or go to audiological training. But this actually can help a lot, and I'll share a story later. Auditory memory, just the ability to remember what you hear. Sequential skills, now that's going to be just, again, the ability to do things in order, read things in order, remember things in order, just put things in order in your brain. And then visual memory is the ability to look at a word, and when you look away, to remember what it looked like. So that's those are the kinds of things that this exercise are going to address, is going to, whatever. Anyway, so any questions on who can benefit? I'll be giving some examples to make it more concrete in a little bit after I go through the basic procedure. Good? Okay. All right, so the basic procedure, and later we're going to go into more fine-tuning the procedure. But the basic procedure is that you are going to find out what the reading level is of your student. So, so determine the reading level. It doesn't have to be exact. But a basic gist. And I have, you can do that by picking a book that the child can read fluently. And then there are ways, you can either look it up on a list, which I have a couple websites here that tell you where you can go. I'll give you that in a minute towards the end of class. But you need to, so you don't have to have the exact level, but if you can kind of say, oh, it's middle second grade, it's beginning fourth grade or whatever. And then once you determine the reading level, you want to find a resource, a book, that the student will enjoy that's about 2 grade levels above the current reading level. So plus 2 reading level text, okay? So if they're reading at about a beginning 3rd grade, which is a good grade level to start them at, then you can go, jump up and get something that's at the beginning of a 5th grade or maybe a late 4th grade. But about 1 to 2 levels, but usually about 2 levels up. And it should be a book that is very interesting to the child. So I think for Nikolai, we need something about cars or planes. Anything that goes, he says. And so you find something that's high interest to them, and you want to make a recording of it or obtain a recording. Now, you'll want to get a recording that has the right kind of accent that you want. So you probably don't want to use a British accent. A lot of recordings, like you can go to LibriVox. You guys familiar with LibriVox? It's is that how it's spelled, Maria?
I think so.
I
I
always,
don't remember.
I
I
always
always
screw it
hear
up.
them say it,
This
but I don't.
is yeah, at the beginning of the recordings.
Yeah.
This is everything on this site is in public domain. It's recordings, and then Gutenberg, of course, is where you can get. And I'm not going to guarantee I'm spelling that right either. Gutenberg is going to be able to give you the text of things that are in public domain. So if you want to get something in public domain, you can find the text on Gutenberg and match it up with the recording on LibriVox for free material. You can also use the library. Let's see. but on LibreVox, because it's international, a lot of times you're gonna get a very strong British accent, which is fun to listen to, but you probably don't want your child to be imitating that. Let's see. Okay, so recording, and then the recording and obtain the text. They're going to listen to the recording, following along with the text. This should be a 20-minute recording, approximately. And they'll listen.
20 minutes total or at a time?
Well, it's going to be, yeah, it's going to be, now, so when they're a little younger, you can do it a little shorter if you want. But typically, it's a 20-minute recording, same thing, they listen to over and over and over, once a day, for about 6 weeks.
So the reading of the book shouldn't take longer than 20 minutes, is what you mean?
Right, so you would pick a selection, and so I actually, these are some that I use. So like, this is a mid-third grade, so probably actually a little higher than this would be better, but you know, something, you find a selection, so usually I'll do like one chapter in most books. Is usually about the right length of time. Younger kids, you can have it a little shorter. So this is actually a better level, because this is probably more like a mid fourth grade. So, and then you can get, sometimes if the child has focus issues, I'll print it out actually, and that's again where Gutenberg can be helpful if it's in public domain, or you can usually find most texts pirated on the internet, unfortunately. But I've resorted to actually typing it into. But you might need to leave more space between the lines to help the student follow in the beginning. Eventually they should, their ability to focus will improve, and then you